Follow News 1226 on Instagram to see what's trending in your area.
From the station that's on your side, News 12, first at 5, continues.
Well, the golf course is beautiful. The Champions Dinner just a few hours away. But with that, the hunt for a green jacket gets closer and closer.
It sure is. The big names are already in town, and there is already big buzz. Laura Warren sets the scene for us at Augusta National.
It is day 2 of practice rounds out here at Augusta National. And again, the weather is perfect. We're starting to get a little closer to when the shots start to count on Thursday. And today, we found out groupings and tee times for rounds 1 and 2. And there are a couple of fun ones to watch. Schauffele, Rahm, and Rory are all together, teeing off at 10:42. And the last group goes off at 2 p.m. And that one should be fun to watch, too. Spieth, Cam Smith, and Morikawa. But today, the strokes are just for practice, and the mood is still fairly relaxed out here. The patrons are able to take photos. The outfits are a little wilder, and it's just a more patron-focused feel.
So I saw Bryson DeChambeau drive yesterday, and I'm not exaggerating. I got goosebumps. It was really amazing. It was really amazing. You could hear him banter. We watched the skipping competition on the 16th.
And the patrons aren't the only ones who are having a blast, with things starting to feel more normal than they have in a while.
There was a moment on 9, probably about a good minute and a half, where we were just joking around with the crowd. It's fun to be able to interact with the crowd and get them going again.
Everyone we've spoken to this year is so grateful to be out here, since there's a lot fewer patrons than normal. But maybe no one as grateful as Michael Thompson's mom, who was in town watching her son compete in his 3rd Masters.
The Augusta takes a sporting event and just takes it to another level, and it's just absolutely kind of like Disneyland on steroids for adults or something.
And the patrons love the traditions out here just as much as the golfers. And one of the most famous traditions happens tonight. That is the Champions Dinner. Reigning champion Dustin Johnson is serving up pigs in a blanket before filet mignon. I mean, what's not to love about that? Reporting at Augusta National, I'm Laura Warren.
We are hungry already. We're
Yes.
going to hear more from the course and get to hear about the big names that were not able to take that invite back in November to April in about 3 minutes.
Right, but first we want to take you live to Payne College, where a reception celebrating Lee Elder just started. You can see him sitting there in the golf cart. Payne College honoring him with an honorary doctorate degree. This is for lifetime achievement.
Yeah, I believe we can now officially, as of this moment, call him Dr. Lee Elder. He is a trailblazer for the sport, becoming the first black man ever to play at the Masters. Let's listen in real briefly if we can.
While working in pro shops and caddying. He served in the U.S. Army from 1959 to 1961. Following his discharge, he joined the United Golf Association Tour, UGA, for black players, and had a dominant stretch, winning 18 of 22 consecutive tournaments. He earned his PGA card in 1968.
Dr. Lee Elder, isn't it fitting, Meredith, that he accepted the award in a golf cart at Payne College this afternoon?
In a golf cart in Augusta, again, where he broke the color barrier at the Masters, the first African-American to play here in 1975.
A wonderful thing to see. A lot of people are holding up books for Dr. Elder to sign, and I'm sure he'll get around to visit with everyone. But just a very special afternoon unfolding as we speak at Payne College. I'm glad we could drop in and have a look at that live.
Yes, much more coming up on News 12 at 6 o'clock, but a wonderful night for the ceremony out there. Except it is a little warm, but I don't think that's much of a complaint this time of year, Richard.
Grovetown looks great. You know,
Yeah.
It's like busy out there, but you know what? Those blue skies, Riley, it's great to see as we check in with First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale.
So a fairly warm evening up ahead and a great time to get outside. Most of us did hit 80 this afternoon. A lot of us are still holding into the mid to low 80s. We are going to see some changes head our way later this week. Much more coming up in your First Alert forecast.
Sounds good, Riley. Thank you. A big sign of progress for an area in Augusta in need of transformation. Today, the Augusta National, along with several other organizations, breaking ground on a new community center for Harrisburg and the Laney Walker neighborhoods.
It is a big deal for areas that need it. The multi-million-dollar project expected to revitalize the area over the next decade with the help of some major nonprofits. Our own Sydney Heiberger is live at the corner of Fenwick and Chafee Avenue. And Sydney, this is a massive project bringing a lot of much-needed service to that area.
You're absolutely right, Meredith. And right now where I'm standing is the area where a 33,000 square foot community center will go. But if you walk with me right across this street where this bus is passing by, that's where that second building will go. A 16,000 square foot headquarters for the Boys and Girls Club. The whole project being called the Hub for Community Innovation. Aside from free-to-use community space, the community center will house 4 nonprofits. They'll provide resources like literacy and tutoring services, free health care and nutrition to the Harrisburg and Laney Walker communities. The idea came about in 2017 when the area's only grocery store shut down, leaving a food desert behind. That's when local leaders decided it was time to transform this area back to the thriving community it once was.
Augusta is experiencing extraordinary growth, and what we really wanted to do is make sure that historic residents of both of these neighborhoods had an opportunity to be part of that growth, part of the planning, and part of the conversation so that they could remain in the downtown core and not be pushed out.
Now, the money for this $13 million construction project is largely coming from corporate donors like Augusta National, AT&T, Bank of America, and IBM. But this is just the start of what I'm told will be a very long rebuilding process. And tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock, I'm telling you what else we can expect once this is done.
Very big transformational projects there, Sydney. Thanks for the heads up. Of course, the Masters is known for its tradition. That means we see some of the same faces year after year, making it really special. But there are a few well-known names we won't see.
Right. Sports director Mike Yakachonis shows us some golfers. Smart move. Thanks for that update, Mike. We do want to update you on some breaking news coverage we've been bringing you from Grovetown. The fire trucks, we can report, are packing up now. You're looking live. We're told 4 families are out of their homes after a fire here. This is happening on Aberdeen Circle. That's in the Canterbury Farms neighborhood. There are some townhomes there, and again, we're hearing 4 families displaced.
And there is one unit, they say in particular, that got the most damage this afternoon. A neighbor telling us she actually saw flames coming out of that unit, and right now crews are working to find out what sparked that fire, and they're still there on the scene now, but packing up. It's something we'll be following throughout the afternoon, but the good news here, no injuries.
Right. Great news. Something that also comes along every April with golf, Wrdw. Just a few hours, the concert kicks off, but it's a little different. It's online this time.
It is online this year because of COVID. They're not doing the usual concert out at Evans Town Center Park, which we do love. We're looking forward to it next year, but they do still have the big names. Luke Combs, Jake Owen, Josh Kelly, Darius Rucker. They're all going to be performing tonight. And just as big, it is free this year. The concert kicks off at 8:30 on the Wrdw Facebook page.
The Georgia voting law saga continues, and now COVID
vaccine passport. While the COVID-19 vaccines have been a scientific miracle, the decision to receive the vaccine should be left up to each individual.
There are concerns, though, about a 4th COVID wave, and with that, some South Carolina doctors warn that could mean more complications in children. That complication, of course, called MIS-C. It impacts children from a year up to 20 years old. So we're talking babies to young adults here. A doctor at the Medical University of South Carolina says they've seen 100 cases of it since January. Now that's the same number they saw in all of last year. The vaccine is, of course, helping lower COVID deaths. However, doctors say don't let your guard down yet, especially since most children cannot get the vaccine.
If there's another rise in COVID cases, we will subsequently see a rise in MIS-C cases.
We reached out to our local hospitals. We haven't heard back from 2 who say we don't have any cases of it here locally. AU says they've actually treated 11 patients for MIS-C in the past year. Larger events are slowly making their way back to our area. Oh, it feels so good to get back to normal. The James Brown block party we told you about last week is actually one step closer to becoming official. Organizers tell us they got approval from Sheriff Richard Roundtree.
So the next step now is to submit an application asking the sheriff's office to shut down the block for that party. But last week, organizers got permission from commissioners in a 6-4 vote. Some commissioners voting against that because of COVID concerns that are ongoing. But organizers say they have plans to make sure this is a safe event. So as of right now, organizers are hoping to have the block party Saturday, May the 1st. That's near that's close to the birthday of James Brown, which is May the 3rd. And that's going to be on James Brown Boulevard between Broad Street and Jones Street. They plan to have music and art and a screening about the making of a new James Brown mural. The event is still yet to have permission to shut down the block. We'll let you know when they get that go-ahead. But things are building in that direction.
They sure are. We can't wait to get back to normal, can we? Okay, some of us cannot go a single morning without it. Now, one local company is offering to give you free coffee every day for a year. Oh yeah, think of the caffeine in that puppy. Details on how you can score your free cup of joe next.
And we have been spoiled with beautiful weather this week. We're expecting that to continue tomorrow, but changes are heading our way later this week. We'll have a look at it in your first alert forecast next.
Well, the weather's beautiful right now, but remember this, cleanup and recovery, it continues in North Georgia, Coweta County after last month's devastating twister ripped through Noonan, Georgia. Officials saying just yesterday more than 1,700 homes were destroyed in the storm. Another 70 with severe damage. Now FEMA says it'll conduct its own assessment to see if the damage warrants federal aid in all this. One death reportedly caused by that massive storm.
And from that, we go to beautiful blue skies. Not a cloud in them today.
Heavy rain, a few strikes of lightning, and then hopefully that Sunday forecast continues to improve. Looking dry mostly on Sunday.
Riley, thanks. Heads up, coffee lovers everywhere. You have a shot at getting free Dunkin' Donuts coffee every day for a year.
Yeah, how great does that sound, right? The Dunkin' on Richland Avenue in Aiken is reopening after it closed because of COVID. And to celebrate, what other way than giving away free coffee? And get this, they're giving it to the first 50 customers in the drive-thru. It is a coupon book filled with tons of sweet deals.
So set the alarm for that morning. The store opens at 5 o'clock in the morning on Friday. You got to be one of the first 50 to be in line to get that coupon book.
But don't worry, if you don't win, the company says they'll also have giveaways throughout the weekend. So you can still celebrate with some free caffeine.
Oh, absolutely. And they've got great donuts, too, while we're at it. Spring has sprung, and they brought the pollen with them this year, didn't they? But how do you know if your child's cough is just allergies or something more? Coming up, what doctors say are some signs to watch out for.
Hello, I'm Ricky. Anytime on CBS.
When it comes to your kids, doctors want to make sure you know the difference between regular allergies and COVID symptoms. They can be tough to discern. The major signs of seasonal allergies: stuffy or runny nose, sneezing, and itchy eyes or nose. But if your kid has a fever, it's probably not allergies. Experts say fever, headaches, nausea, those are more in line with COVID symptoms that kids experience.
In children with COVID, we have seen headache as a fairly common symptom. And then there are GI symptoms with a lot of children who have COVID. So nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. And those are certainly things, the nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, that we don't expect to see with allergies.
If you think your child has COVID, doctors say get them tested. And this is important. Keep them home from school until you get the results. But if you've ruled out COVID, you can still see an allergist to see what is causing their allergies. And I'm thinking pollen is a irritant right now that's bothering a lot of kiddos.
It's really out there, isn't it? Well, check this out. The South Carolina Aquarium introducing a couple of new river otters. These North American river otters are going to be joining two other older otters already living there in the museum. Those names are Ace and Stono. Otters are very social animals, so the aquarium is hoping a couple of younger otters might lift Ace and Stono's spirits. Have some company.
I'm wondering if it's Ace for Ace Basin and Stono for the Stono River, Riley.
Look at you.
Maybe.
Wow. Maybe so. Hey, pretty creative there with the names. As far as the week.
Watch 1226 on your side, wherever you go. From the station that's on your side, this is News 12 at 6 o'clock.
We are another day closer to the Masters tournament, but the patrons were the real winners today with another day of great weather out there. there to watch the world's best golfers. With fewer patrons, with masks, and with social distancing, there are a lot of changes for 2021, but a big change is the turnaround from playing this course in the fall.
Yeah, the conditions are almost like playing a different golf course, and golfers are out there wrapping up the second day of on the course of practice. Very important day as we speak.
And in just a bit, it is on to the main course of a different kind for those lucky enough to have won a green jacket over the years. It's a gathering of champions with a menu decided by last November's Masters champion, Dustin Johnson. And DJ says he came up with the menu with the help of the clubhouse chef. And it's been just 5 months since the Columbia native won the Masters. It feels like we were all just here gathered together, but tonight's dinner is just one requirement only, and that is green jacket required.
I mean, obviously it's a special piece of clothing to have, and but probably the coolest thing was wearing it when I was here, like, you know, having dinner, or, you know, for me that was probably the coolest. I didn't really wear it anywhere or do any. I haven't had it for that long.
Yeah, not even a half year, but talk tonight about who's going to be missing at the Champions Dinner. Tiger Woods, of course, came back to win that 5th Masters with a win in 2019. Spectacular, not in Augusta this week, but he is on the minds of his fellow players. And today, Justin Thomas talked about his recent visits with Tiger.
I went over and saw him a couple times last week, and I've tried to just go over a couple times during the week whenever I'm home and see him. And yeah, he texted Friday night this morning saying I think it's kind of starting to set in. He's bummed he's not here playing practice rounds with us, and we hate it too.
So many people wishing 5-time Master champion Tiger Woods a very speedy recovery, but it is a bummer, you know. It's a week everyone looks forward to.
A big presence in Augusta, not with us this year. One more day to go before the shots start to count, but already there's some major green jacket buzz out there.
And as Meredith Anderson shows us, a lot of it surrounds a former champion making a huge comeback.
Redemption at the Masters. Tiger Woods found Masters magic in 2019 with perhaps the greatest comeback in sports history. Now, here we are with another former champion setting the stage for yet another Cinderella story for something that happened just 2 days ago, and in Texas, of all places. Jordan Spieth, the Longhorn who was a long shot, is suddenly a Masters favorite.
We've been missing good play from Spieth for so long, and he's finally peaking at the right time.
And perhaps just in time, Spieth was in danger of dropping off the top 100 list.
We're Longhorns, so we're rooting for him.
But his win Sunday at the Texas Open ended his 82-event dry spell, catapulting his odds for a second green jacket from 50-1 to 11-1.
I'm a freshman at UT Austin. Hook 'em.
Spieth's climb also couldn't come at a better time for this group from his alma mater, excited to cheer on a famous alum.
We're missing school for this. I think this is a very valid reason to miss school for.
After all, this is a place where you see a lot of schools. Okay, so there are no Tennessee golfers in contention, but Brooks Koepka of Florida State could be. That's our own chief photographer repping the Seminoles. Out here, no one seems to mask where they got their degree.
Did you get it?
Even the golfers show team spirit and look forward to hearing a familiar cheer.
With the fans, the patrons here, it's going to be different. We have a lot more Go Dogs.
Bubba Watson joins quite a few other former Georgia Bulldogs this week. Brendan Todd, Brian Harmon, Hudson Swafford, Harris English, and Kevin Kisner all qualified.
I hadn't realized a lot of those guys hadn't been here in a number of years, so it was a good time. They were picking my brain pretty good.
It's definitely a treat.
Love guys like Kiz and Brian Harmon.
To go back in time and remember the good old days.
We were on the school buses with in Georgia and would see him around campus and stuff and out at the course. So it's neat to be able to come out here and see him compete in something so prestigious.
Meanwhile, these current students are soaking it up, even teaching this old dog some new tricks.
These are Longhorns, so you go like this.
Yeah.
And then what do you say?
Hook 'em.
Hook 'em?
Hook 'em horns, baby.
Which is exactly what they hope Jordan Spieth will be able to do come Sunday.
Burnt orange and green go great together. That's what I've learned. That's what I've learned.
Speaking of colleges, if Tyler Strafacci of Georgia Tech wins this year, that'll be 2 consecutive Yellow Jackets winning low amateur after Andy Ogletree won it last year. Reporting from Augusta National, I'm Meredith Anderson.
Lots of college pride out at Augusta National year after year, and it's great to have the guys from Texas here. I hope you don't miss too much class over here in Augusta with us.
We won't show this story to your professors, but they've had a tough year. I think they earned some time off.
It will be online. Just don't let your professors hear about that. So just wrapping up, a reception at Payne College honoring this trailblazing golfer, Dr. Lee Elder. Dr. Elder now, the first African-American man to play in the Masters back in 1975. Today, Payne awarding him with an honorary doctorate degree for lifetime achievements.
Alumni, city leaders, and school officials all gathered right there on the front lawn of the college for a traditional hooding ceremony for Elder. The CEO of Georgia Power, who is a friend of Lee's, Chris Womack, said it was great to see his friend honored in such a way.
Really got to know him and all that kind of made him to be what he is and all that he's kind of become. So yeah, so Lee's been a good friend, but more important, he's been a good friend to golf and been a good friend to African Americans who enjoy the game of golf and help the growth and development of that sport.
With the help of the Augusta National, Payne College will also give 2 scholarships to students in Elder's name and launch a women's golf team there. So we're taking a closer look at Elder's legacy tonight on News 12 at 11 o'clock.
A wonderful afternoon at Payne College. More news ahead. Let's get
to eat, do some outdoor dining. We're expecting temps to still be close to 80 by now, and then later by 8 p.m. will most likely be down to the low 70s. So a very comfortable evening, warm temperatures as well. We'll have a look at some rain moving in later in the week in your first alert forecast.
Riley, thanks very much. Of course, the golfers are loving this weather so far, and one guy who's seen just about everything there is to see about course conditions at Augusta National, that's the guy here, Phil Mickelson.
That's right. Bit of a big anniversary for Lefty. This year marks 30 years since his Masters debut as an amateur. Even after all of these years, Phil Mickelson still has patrons flocking to find him on the course.
30 years is noteworthy. So look at all the people that came in with him as a freshman class, and how many are out there now? Very, very few. So we're proud of it.
I love Phil Mickelson, and growing up it was kind of Tiger and Phil in their prime was when I started watching golf and playing golf. So I kind of took Phil as the guy who I wanted to root for because I'm always loving to root for an underdog, and he was a little bit always behind Tiger.
30 years ago, Phil kicked off a heck of a career as the low am in the Masters. He would go on to win 3 green jackets.
And there's so many people here who would die to play one time. So thinking that he debuted here 30 years ago is insane and just shows the scope of his career.
But 30 years and 29 Masters appearances in, he's now competing against insanely long hitters like DeChambeau and an increasingly fitter field.
It's what gets me motivated to be in the gym and to try to be physically able to swing fast enough to compete against these guys.
And the tour players are very competitive and athletic that they weren't in years past to this degree. And so for him to hang with those young kids is pretty good.
At this stage in his career, he says he's still looking ahead, but does find himself nostalgic for those once-in-a-lifetime moments, like his first Masters win in 2004.
That is probably the greatest joy that I've felt, you know, the relief of the pressure of why haven't I won a major to winning the Masters and being part of the history of the game and sharing it with my family, and just a very special moment in my life.
Now he has 3 decades worth of history with this course and with Augusta that's special, right down to his meals every Masters week.
I cannot give you my sources, but we do understand that we have a friend that makes spaghetti for him every year. Yeah, so I better leave it at that.
Yeah, I was asking, who's making the spaghetti? The Godfather? Like, why is this sauce so secret?
A well-kept secret.
But
there,
he does say that he eats it every Friday night, so I guess that is the secret sauce, you know, that propels Phil into the tournament.
That or Krispy Kreme, because one of my favorite shots is Phil in the green jacket at the drive-through window with his kids.
Mine too. Between Waffle House, Krispy Kreme, and spaghetti, I mean, I guess we're just all not eating the right fuel.
Maybe, and the competitiveness. Don't underestimate that. If Tiger did it, Phil knows he can do it.
Yeah.
Watch Phil.
That competitiveness.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
real. It is real. All right, the Augusta National Golf Club's impact also being felt off the course right now. This was the scene earlier today, a big groundbreaking ceremony for a new transformative community campus right in the heart of Augusta. It's all part of the club's and the other corporate sponsors' $10 million commitment to breathe some life back into the Harrisburg and Laney Walker neighborhoods.
News 12 City Heiberger live on site right in the corner of Fenwick Street and Chafee Avenue, where 2 new buildings will be going up over the next year. So, Sydney, what else can we expect to come there?
Well, Laura, where I'm standing right now is going to be the future site of the 33,000 square foot new community center that's going to house 4 nonprofits to help revitalize this community right across the street, right across Chafee Avenue here where those buses are. That's going to be the new Boys and Girls Club headquarters. 16,000 square feet is a long time coming, and as community leaders tell me, it's just the start of a long journey. It's an unfortunate casualty of growth when neighborhoods get left behind.
You have a thriving African-American community that has been torn apart by violence and racism.
In 2017, the closing of a local grocery store was the last straw, adding food desert to the list of problems plaguing the Laney Walker and Harrisburg neighborhoods.
What we really wanted to do is make sure that historic residents of both of these neighborhoods had an opportunity to be part of that growth, part of the planning, and part of the conversation so that they could remain in the downtown core and not be pushed out.
Enter the Hub for Community Innovation, a $13 million project housing 5 nonprofits whose mission is to help revitalize the area.
We are now breaking ground on 2 buildings that are the cornerstones of what will be a much larger effort that will transform this area from what you see today.
But change doesn't happen overnight. Leaders expect it to take at least 15 years to turn this area around. These buildings, they say, are just the start.
Well, we hope we'll be able to apply for some further funding that will help provide a structure for some affordable housing and some other options that we know are essential.
And right from those 2 buildings you just heard all about, those nonprofits are going to offer free tutoring and literacy remediation, after-school care, nutrition, mentoring, even free health care services, and it's all expected to open in about a year. A transformational project, Sydney. Thanks for walking us through some of that. And rather than a traditional groundbreaking, you might have seen those leaders planting a tree. That's to symbolize the growth that will come. Augusta National Chairman Fred Ridley will talk a lot more about this project during his Wednesday press conference tomorrow, so we'll be sure to cover that and bring you the latest.
And it's Masters Week. That means almost time for the return of Wrdw. It was called off last year altogether because of COVID. Tonight the show goes on, but it's virtual. You can expect performances from Darius Rucker, Luke Combs, Jake Owen, Josh Kelly, and Drew Holcomb. The live stream event gets started at 8:30 over on Facebook. For the link, you can search Wrdw on the website or the WRDW app. You can watch for free, but don't forget, this is a fundraiser for First Tee of Augusta, and yeah, they are accepting donations.
New developments in the investigation into the fire that burned down the Aiken Equine Rescue over the weekend. Fire officials tell us the damage from the fire so bad they can't figure out how it started in the first place. People with the rescue told us yesterday they lost $100,000 worth of supplies. So far, the community's really stepped up to raise more than $25,000 to help them get back on their feet and start to rebuild.
We have an update today about the Veterans Cemetery.
Forecast next.
Plus, people are on the move in and out of Augusta this week. How our airports say they're bouncing back.
And Jim Hudson Lexus Augusta.
While our local businesses are getting a financial boost this week, so are our local airports.
And that is great news. Both Augusta Regional and Daniel Field tell us they're seeing the number of people flying in and out of Augusta go up as the week goes on. News 12's Will Rio live from Augusta Regional with how the airports are bouncing back.
That's right, Laura. Bouncing back is the right way to say it. And here at Augusta Regional, I mean, it's been busy all day. We've been out here all day watching these planes come in one after another from left, right, every direction. Right behind me, there was actually a huge line of planes ready to take off after dropping off waves of people. And that's the key thing. They're dropping off waves of people for Masters Week. And they're also dropping off waves of people to support our local airports.
We're thankful that the Masters is going to be here again this spring.
Thankful because of this.
We're happy to see each day so far we see more and more people come in.
Augusta Regional says Monday they saw their biggest single-day crowd of travelers in the past year.
We love to see it. You know, we want the airport to be busy, and economically, you know, we want to be prosperous as well. So we're happy to see everybody starting to come back and starting to travel again as well.
Through the pandemic, Augusta Regional received more than $19 million in CARES Act funds to help continue their growth they were seeing before the pandemic. They're hoping those funds and these patrons will help get them back on track.
We are continuing to talk to the airlines to try to get as many direct flights as we can. We are trying to get new flights. We're always talking to them, keep Augusta in the forefront.
Much like Augusta Regional, last year was hard on Daniel Field too.
The beginning of 2020 was horrible. There were weeks that we didn't see anybody here on the airport.
That means no one is buying fuel or paying for a spot on the runway.
Fuel sales are what keep our doors open. And when aircraft aren't out here buying fuel, then, we have a hard time making ends meet.
But they're hoping at least 20% of the usual Masters crowd shows up to help them out.
This is just such a refreshing scene to see here this year for Masters 2021. And we're holding our own.
And we won't know the exact number of people who have traveled into Augusta just yet. We'll know that in around mid-May, they told me. Both airports want to wait till we get an exact number of how many people actually traveled to Augusta.
It is good to see a lot of activity there behind you. Will, thanks for that update.
All right, let's get some of the sights from Augusta National today. Sunny blue skies for day 2. We caught up with Fred Couples over on number 15, and that's Justin Thomas and Rory.
The nation's capital is now a non-stop flight from Augusta Regional Airport. Now boarding American Airlines non-stop to D.C. flight. Augusta Regional Airport. Fly there, fly home.
Americans expect their elections to have safeguards. Only then can we have confidence the results are fair and accurate. Incredibly, some in Congress want to strip away those critical safeguards. No more voter ID. Signature verification on absentee ballots virtually eliminated. And effectively allowing non-citizens to vote. The list goes on. Every illegal vote cancels someone's legitimate vote, like yours. Tell your senators your vote matters. Tell them to vote no on Senate Bill 1.
It's a brand new day